through the field. And then right at the back, Alain and Dominic Mermans making a surprise debut here. He didn't expect that when he arrived as the reserve driver. So that is Dominic Mermans. He finished, I think, 14th, 15th in the Formula Atlantic Championship. So that's a big ask for a young man who just did a few laps yesterday.
Yes, and again, this morning he seemed to be struggling. It's a big car, much bigger than the Formula Atlantic, a lot more power, so it's going to be very difficult for him and
these
very physical.
Bruce, these cars have got heavy steering. You've got great big arms here. I mean, they do take a lot of manhandling as we go to the front of the grid, and I have to tell you that Bruce Journet yesterday drove the test car and did some excellent times in the final practice session. Indeed, a good race time he did on a car which really didn't have the best of tyres and a full fuel load. So maybe we'll see you racing in this soon, Bruce. I know you've done all the testing. So Bruce Journet alongside me, and I'm sure he's going to give us some insightful comment on what's going on in this race. Just to remind you, some 44 minutes long, and then they hold out the sign for 1 lap to go. Well, another sign is being held up at the moment, and that says 1 minute. So we're almost at a launch time here. This Super League Formula does not have a race from the start of the grid. They do not accelerate away. It's a rolling start. Your thoughts on that, Bruce? Rolling starts?
It's pretty safe to do a rolling start, because then all the cars are staying where they are, and hopefully they all stay together on the track for the first corner. So it's quite interesting, and the cars are going very fast into the first corner.
Yeah, very fast indeed. This Vallelonga track, pretty well known as a venue for motorcycling, and particularly World Superbike Championships held here. They have a 24-hour race here on occasions. I think it's a 6-hour race yet to come up this year.
And can I interrupt you?
Yes, go ahead.
Sevilla is going to start from the pit lane. The Sevilla car is going to start from the pit lane, so that's a good news.
Okay, so he will make the start, but we'll have a lot of catching up to do, of course. These cars have phenomenal V12 engines built by the MCT organisation in the English Cotswolds. There in the pits is Borja Garcia and the Sevilla car. It's never easy to start from the pit lane. They let everyone else go first. But what will they do, Bruce? Well, they let him filter in behind these cars on the warm-up lap, presumably.
No, they won't. He's going to have to stay in the pit lane. They go for the warm-up lap, and then he goes after that. So he will go with cold tires, cold brakes, and it's going to be hard for the first few laps.
Here they go on the warm-up lap. Remember, it's a rolling start here, and 44 laps coming up.
Okay, they've gone, and everybody's warming up their tires to the first corner, and you can see that Borja Garcia is staying in the pit lane, and he will have to start behind them. I think we need to have a close look on two cars which haven't done so well on the grid, which are Roma and Corinthians. Corinthians were the fastest overall car yesterday in the qualifying, and AS Roma was actually third quickest. So the two of them are starting 5th and 7th on the grid, but they will do well.
And then we've got a problem there with the car on the grid.
Olympiacos.
And, well, maybe that's down to Stamatis Katsimas, the young Greek driver. Seville still waiting, so the Greek driver maybe has stalled it.
Yes, probably a stall, and you'll have a race starting from the pit lane as well, because not only Borja Garcia from Sevilla will start from the pit lane, but also Olympiacos. They will be queuing down there.
We've got a beautiful pace car as well. I think you'd like to be driving around the streets of Paris in one of those.
Indeed, yes.
There's that Corinthians car just going for a shot that you mentioned, Antonio Pizzonia. Raced for the Jaguar Formula 1 team, raced indeed for Williams for a while, and he's been back in Brazil driving in touring cars this season, taking a little while to get his head back into single-seater mode, but he certainly did that in the previous round with a couple of 4th places, so we expect to see the Corinthians car maybe forging through the field a little bit.
And we saw at the back of the grid Porto and Dortmund. Porto wasn't very lucky yesterday because they crashed and damaged the car. They couldn't take part into the qualifying session, and it was the same for Dortmund, who crashed in practice. But FC Porto looks pretty strong as well, so it's going to be interesting to see if he can make his way up through the field.
So everyone behind the Lamborghini here, and had 2 double winners thus far in the 8 races we've had, Davide Rigon and Adrian Valles. And one of our winners, of course, Paul Meyer, is sitting out this race. He's in the pits with his wrist all bound up, I guess feeling pretty sorry for himself. So here they are now on the latter part of the lap, just going past the back of the pits. And there the pace car pulls off. It's definitely a go situation, Bruce. And
Adrian Valles has to lead, and he decides when to put the throttle down to do the start, and there he goes. He will be flat from now, and he takes the lead.
And it's go, and Valles immediately into the lead.
Very good start from AS Roma as well. Leading is Liverpool, followed by AC Milan and Beijing 1.
So Liverpool in the lead here, but there's a challenge, but no. And you see the Beijing car there in 3rd place, and the Galatasaray colours in 4th.
And Corinthians inside of Anderlecht. Very good fight as usual. Craig Dolby pushing very hard on the first lap.
Craig Dolby, one of the stars that's been created by Superleague Formula. And there you see on this first lap going past a sign that says the beautiful race, married of course to the beautiful game, football.
And actually very good start from Galatasaray, not Roma, my mistake. Yeah. Galatasaray is currently 4th and Roma is in 6th position.
There you see in the top of your screen how long there is remaining, the countdown clock.
And it's Flamengo struggling a little bit. Flamengo going back down the field. He lost 1 place, and he has Roma pushing very hard behind him, and as well as the Corinthians.
But Liverpool FC currently in the lead as we head towards the first lap here, the end of the first lap. Here they come round the end of the paddock block and finishing the first lap.
Liverpool pushing very hard, leading by 6/10, and then Milano leading by 4/10 on Beijing, and then Galatasaray, Flamengo and Roma.
And there you see our telemetry coming live from the AC Milan car, going up there. A lot of revs up to 11, and all these cars have a special boost button, Bruce. And maybe just explain how that will work in the race. We didn't have it, of course, in qualifying.
Yes, it's a button you can use only, a system you can only use in the races. You can use it 8 times. You can only use it once per lap, and it gives an extra 1,000 revs on every gear. So instead of having 11,000 revs available, you get 12,000 revs, and that helps all along the straight.
You might see that on the telemetry, the push to pass button they call it. And Liverpool currently in the lead. Certainly the Beijing car getting really mixed up with the front runners there, and Galatasaray still 4th.
And you could see the different line between Milano and the AC Milan car and the Beijing car, because David Erigan has an exceptional track knowledge, and he knows all the special lines around there, and especially there in the very technical bit he has his own lines which are working very well. He was very fast yesterday in the sector 2. And he's doing well, but it's very hard to overtake on that track.
Yeah, certainly is, and there you see how close it is. There's your top 6 on the screen. Roma in 6th place, so the local fans have got something to cheer, but it's Liverpool FC, and setting some very quick times. 24.525 is best lap, and that was done on the 2nd lap there.
And Liverpool is extending his lead a little bit. There is now a second between Liverpool and AC Milan, but there is a very close fight between Flamengo and Roma, as well as with Beijing and AC Milan, everywhere of the field.
Saw the Beijing car trying to go down the inside there, and just having a look at our timing screen. Glasgow Rangers in 8th place as well, going strongly. Duncan Tappy, I think, moved up a couple of places as well, is now in 11th position.
There are only a very few places where you can make a move to overtake, and if the driver in front of you is blocking you, then it's extremely difficult. There's only probably 1 or 2 places to overtake, and you can see Roma and Corinthians really pushing Flamengo. Flamengo being slow, but they cannot find a way of making a move, as the leaders are staying in the same positions.
Yeah, the Corinthian car in 7th place ahead of the Rangers machine.
Fastest lap for Liverpool in 1:24.5 on the previous lap, and now actually Milan and Beijing being a little bit quicker on this last